What's going on? A to Z Sports. Sam Phelan here with you for Titans at 2. We are not live this afternoon on this Monday because as you watch this, I am en route to Indianapolis for the NFL Scouting Combine to take a look at all of the top players in this draft class for the 2024 NFL Draft. So I'm on my way to Indy. So coming with a pre-recorded show real quick to preview some of the players and storylines that I'm excited to check out while I am down there. Going to be a great opportunity to not only watch some of the top players in the draft class on the field, at least some of them, we'll talk about that in a moment, but also get a chance to speak with them. Players will be doing interviews. They'll have media availability. I'll have a chance to talk with all of the top names that you are currently mocking and projecting and dreaming about landing with your Tennessee Titans. So I want to go ahead off the bat, before I remind you about my sponsor, ask you guys to comment below who you most want me to talk to, pay attention to, and cover from Indianapolis. I know we're not live, but leave a comment anyway. I will come back and check these, see what name keeps popping up, and I will make it a point to talk to that person, to get you video of that person, to really have some takeaways of the workout of that person. I want Titans fans to have the opportunity to get as much access and as much visibility to the players they care most about. So comment that below. And I'm going to remind you that Titans at 2 is sponsored by Youth Titans NFL Flag Football Leagues and NFL Flag Football. For boys and girls pre-K through 5th grade, the league starts in March and goes through May with a once-a-week program that is on Sundays for a total of 2 hours. Just because it's the spring does not mean that football is gone. Football is happening all over the place right now, and that includes the NFL Flag Football Leagues. There is a link in the description of today's show, in the YouTube description, www.titansflagfootball.com. They also have an adult league going on as well. So click that link to look into registration. The league starts in March, again, goes through May with a once-a-week program on Sundays for Titans NFL Flag Football, powering today's version of Titans at 2, making it happen. Now, as you guys comment who you want to talk about, here is kind of who I have my eye on. I'm really interested in the front end of wide receiver, front end of the wide receivers, the front end of the round 2 wide receivers, and then vice versa for offensive linemen. But really one of the main storylines that I see being a thing this week in Indianapolis is the wide receiver situation, because Marvin Harrison Jr. is not going to run and not going to practice. You see that from Albert Breer, for those who didn't click, referring to the article he posted. Marvin Harrison will be in Indy, will meet with teams, and he's not just skipping testing. He has decided not to train at all for the 40-yard dash, for the shuttle drill, for the vertical and broad jump, for the bench press, for any of the NFL combine testing. He's training to play football instead, hopes it will give him a leg up with his new team. Now, I learned this firsthand, that in case you haven't watched the snippet of my tryout with the Nashville Cats that I did, I just went and ran the 40. I just went and ran the shuttle. And I very quickly realized how much training is necessary to do it well. The form, the technique that is required for a lot of these drills, it is a lot of training. These NFL draft prospects have been training for months leading up to this combine to make sure that they run the best 40 possible. Marvin Harrison Jr. did not want to use his time on that. Instead, he is training to be a wide receiver. Could be smart, could open the door for a conversation. Now, Dane Brugler followed it up by saying, look, no team is necessarily adjusting their draft board based on Marvin Harrison Jr. not running a 40. They have all the in-game GPS numbers anyways. All of that is true. But with that said, Malik Neighbors is already viewed as a wide receiver 1 by some teams, and both could be top 3 prospects in this draft. So I'm super interested in seeing how the wide receiving draft class between Odunze, Harrison, and Neighbors is going to play out. Brugler is correct. No team is going to say, well, you didn't run a 40, he did run a 40, so we're going to shift our draft board around drastically. But if Malik Neighbors comes out and runs a 4.3, if Rome Odunze comes out and runs a 4.3, if they can pop on some of these numbers, I think you start to get into a little bit of a gray area for teams that haven't had a chance to see Marvin Harrison Jr. do some of these drills in person. They've obviously checked him out at, games and whatnot, and they'll have a chance to meet with him. But I think there is going to be a narrative forming, whether teams believe it or not. Teams might say, look, Harrison's the wide receiver one, or hey, Neighbors is the wide receiver one, and that's not changing. The narrative is going to shift among NFL people, fans, media, that say, hold on, take a look at Malik Neighbors as wide receiver one. Take a look at Rome Odunze as wide receiver one. Let's remember that Rome Odunze is also a freak. He made the freak list on The Athletic at the beginning of the college football season. 6'2", 216, ran a 4.19 in the shuttle drill, a 4.34 in the 40, 37-inch vertical, 10.1 in the broad jump. Rome Odunze has put up some stupid numbers in the past. And so do not be surprised if he does something similar at this combine. An opportunity for him to potentially stick out as well without Marvin Harrison Jr. doing a lot of these things. Both Rome Odunze and Malik Neighbors have a chance without Marvin Harrison Jr. taking a lot of the headlines because he's not participating in drills to go and show teams just how special of a wide receiver they could be by jumping out on testing. There is another guy that I believe is going to cause a lot of stir this week in his testing. I don't believe that is reflective of the football player he is, or at least I don't believe it should be an impact on his draft stack. I will tell you who that is, but first I'm going to tell you about the Aura app, because the Aura is doing what it takes to keep me and could be doing what it takes to keep you safe on the internet in the internet age. Because anybody can find anything online, like your full name, your personal email, home address, phone number, even relatives. It is a scary, scary place. And as I just mentioned, we live in a digital world where everything seems to be online and it's hard to avoid. So you need Aura, who can protect your information. They found over 30 data brokers that had my information, submitted opt-out requests on my behalf, and got my name off a lot of the lists for telemarketers and robocallers. So I don't get spam calls anymore. My phone does not get spam or no caller IDs popping up. They also have a VPN, real-time credit and identity theft monitoring, password management, internet parental controls, you name it. Or really anything in the toolbox to keep you safe, they've got it. You can sign up right now with our link, aura.com/ATOZ, and get a 2-week free trial, aura.com/ATOZ, for a 2-week free trial when you sign up. Just try it out. Try it out. I don't think you will regret having Aura in your life. One other guy I think is going to cause a major, major stir just by testing, by looking good in the underwear, as they say, and running fast and being a freak athlete. And it's going to be Olu Fashanu for me. This was written in The Athletic about Olu Fashanu ahead of the college football season at Penn State. The most highly touted offensive line prospect in the country is still only 20 years old. Fashanu was a 3-star prospect out of high school, ranked only 45th among all offensive tackles recruited in the 2020 class. However, at 6'6", 320 from Washington, D.C., he had a terrific year on the field with an impressive one off it, running a 4.97 40 this offseason and a 4.63 shuttle time. That 40 time would have tied for the best at the NFL Combine among all offensive linemen there. Fashanu, who attributes his agility to all the time he spent playing basketball growing up, also bench pressed 405 pounds, squatted 605, and power cleaned 350. This is a guy who is going to burst onto the scene. He's going to take 225. He's going to whip it around 30-plus times. Maybe, I don't even know how many times he's going to do it, but it's going to be impressive. He's going to run sub-5. He might run sub-5. And he might put up a shuttle time pretty similar in the 4.6s. For an offensive tackle of his size, he is going to absolutely trump everybody else at his position in a lot of the testing that they do. I think that is going to cause some people to raise their eyebrows a bit. Now, Joe Alt is a superior run blocker than Fashanu, who makes a lot of his game in pass protection. But if you look at the athleticism, you look at the speed, maybe some teams start to look at Olu Fashanu a little bit differently and say, there's a lot to work with here. There's a lot we can work with. Joe Alt, more of the high floor offensive tackle. Olu Fashanu, potentially the highest ceiling offensive tackle. Should that affect his draft stock? To me, no. I can see that there is an argument out there, right? Especially if we want to put a Titans lens on this thing, saying, all right, you have Brian Callahan as your offensive line coach now, who is super capable of developing offensive linemen. Maybe you take the more skilled, more, toolsy, high upside player and trust one of the best offensive line coaches in the sport to develop him in Bill Callahan. I'm not sure I subscribe to that philosophy as much. I believe the Titans need somebody, if they're going to go with an offensive lineman at number 7, they need somebody who they can plug and play, who is going to be very solid and very productive. There really should be a sense of urgency within this organization to put Will Levis in a position to succeed and see what you have in Will Levis. I think you've been really encouraged by what Will Levis has done through his rookie season in the NFL. But every team is always asking themselves, do we have the right quarterback? And I'm not sure you can say that about Will Levis definitively right now. If you're the Titans, you're encouraged. You love where you're at. You love the trajectory that you are on, but you are not slam dunk, okay, this guy's an established star yet. There's still a lot to prove. There's a lot to be done. And so in order to answer that question definitively, one way or another, getting an offensive line that is productive in 2024, adding wide receivers that are competent in 2024 immediately is going to be a point of emphasis for me if I was Ran Carthon, if I was the Titans decision makers. So I look at Joe Alt and I see a left tackle who can play left tackle week 1, who can be maybe Pro Bowl level week 1, like maybe just that good. But at the very least, I think he's solid, right? And so when you partner him with Peter Skoronski and you're able to set up the run game and establish the run, and you can be more competent in pass protection, and you just put Will Levis in a position to succeed, I think that's the better recipe. Olu Fashanu might have all these tools, but what if it doesn't click in year 1 necessarily? And that's not to say he'd be a problem, but what if he's not a solid starting left tackle in year 1, but he becomes that by year 3? That could be a really good investment for some NFL team, but I'm not sure you want to wait till Will Levis's 4th season in the National Football League to have a competent left tackle there. Not that it's a guarantee that Fashanu won't hit the ground running. I just think there is a higher likelihood of that happening than Joe Alt taking more time to get up to speed. I like Alt as the better player. I like his tape a little bit more. I like the reliability and the higher floor a little bit more for what the team is doing. So for me, no, this stuff should not get in the way of taking Joe Alt over Olu Fashanu. But as I mentioned, similar to wide receivers, we know how this league works. We know how the media cycle works. We know that if Olu Fashanu comes out and runs a 4.97 with a 4.63 shuttle and throws the bench press around 30 plus times or however many it is to shine in this group, that people are going to start looking at him at 6'6", 320 pounds and saying, maybe he is offensive lineman 1. There is just so much that goes into offensive line play, more than the physical tools necessary. If you want a physical and toolsy lineman that you can develop, that you can really lean on Bill Callahan to develop, there's going to be other guys later in the draft that are available that don't cost you the number 7 overall pick. Again, leave a comment here. Let me know who you want me to talk to, who you want me to do more digging on as I go through this week in Indianapolis. I will be talking to Brian Callahan and Ran Carthon while I'm down there in Indy. I will be talking to people from around the NFL, trying to figure out what's going on in Tennessee and where they might go with the number 7 pick. But I'm especially going to focus my time on talking to these players and getting to know them as we approach NFL draft season. So comment who you want to know. I'm thinking I'm going to talk to Fashanu. I'm going to talk to Alt. I'm going to try and talk to all the receivers. I'm going to talk to Brock Bowers. I might look at some round 2 wide receivers as well, but I will be receptive to what the people have to say about who I should focus my time on. That's all I got today. It's a quick one today, I know, but I have to go hit the road. I have to go get to Indianapolis so we can get all of this stuff done. I will be live again, actually live, I think, hopefully. Another show's coming on Thursday. I can say that much because I will be busy in Indianapolis. I don't know if I will be in a position at 2 o'clock to come live for you guys and talk with you, but another show will go on Thursday afternoon with an update on all of these topics where I will have already spoken to Rand Carthon and Brian Callahan and gotten a look at a lot of these players by the time we talk next. So appreciate you guys hanging out. Thank you for joining me today, and keep it locked on A to Z Sports. Keep it locked on my Twitter account, the A to Z Sports Twitter account. There is so much content coming over the next week. Tweets, articles, videos, opinions, you name it. It's coming out. So keep it locked on A to Z. Keep it locked on Sam Phelan here. Appreciate you guys joining. Till next time, tighten